So good morning, everyone, and you're welcome once more to today's class. For today's class, we shall be considering economic growth and development. That is what we'll be considering for today's class. And so you see that the economic growth and development, all right, is just an aspect of introductory economics too. It's just an aspect of macroeconomics, and that does not imply that this particular topic is kind of narrow to be a topic considered in the macroeconomics. So economic growth and development is wide, okay, is broad. In fact, it is a course. In fact, the department, all right, recently just got approvals and would soon commence a program, okay, in BSc Economics and Development Studies. So that tells you that economic growth and development is a broad issue and is an issue that spans through various spheres of life, is an issue that is discussed even at other um, humanities, field of humanities, other social sciences. So it's a broad issue. So we discussing it here is not exhaustive. We just want to scratch it just for us to have an understanding of what the concept of economic growth is and development. And it's just like for us to have an understanding of what it entails when we talk about economic growth and also when we talk about economic development. So have it in mind that the topic is um, is a bit narrow, like with respect to this course. Okay, it is very broad. All right, very broad. Okay, just 1 minute, please. All right, so it is a broad topic, okay, that we should consider as a course. So, but we are just discussing it, all right, narrowly. We are looking at it in narrow terms when we look at economic growth and development. So in this topic, we shall be considering one, definitions. We'll look at also the meaning of development planning. We'll consider the types of planning. We would also consider ways of financing economic economic development in Nigeria. We would also consider growth and development issues in Nigeria. So these are the 5 things we will consider today in order for us to wrap up this particular topic. So as an introduction, when we talk about economic growth, what do we mean? Very simple. Economic growth is just an increase in output over time. That's economic growth. So when you have increases in output over time, then we'll say that an economy is growing. And so that is the meaning of what? Economic growth. Okay? So whenever you hear the word economic growth, all you need to just ask yourself is, what is the output of that particular country or state, okay, within the country for a particular period, and what is it now? Once the output of the state is increasing, we can seldom see that the economy is growing. And that is all you need to know about economic growth. Then you need to understand that the definition implies that economic growth is time bound. What does that mean? It means that when you are defining economic growth, it must be for a period of time. You can't just leave economic growth issue as open-ended. So if you say economic growth of Nigeria, you must give a period. You must ask yourself, is within which quarter and which quarter? Is within which year to which year? Very, very important. The next thing is we ask ourselves, how do we calculate economic growth? Okay. The first thing is we need to understand our real GDP. You have done this in your topic 1 when you considered topic 1 or topic 2, when you considered real GDP and nominal GDP. Of course, the real GDP is the output produced by an economy for a period of time in relation to the price of goods and services at a particular base year. So for example, in Nigeria, our base year is 2010. So when I talk about the real GDP of Nigeria in 2020, what I'm only saying is what is the output produced in Nigeria in 2020 in relation to the price of goods and services as at 2010. That is the real GDP, just to avoid effects of increasing inflation. That is why we have that particular concept. So once you have your real GDP for a period of time, then the next thing you ask yourself is calculate the growth rate. How has it changed over time? Okay, the growth rate tells you the value of GDP growth. So the formula for calculating that particular growth rate, okay, all right, is going to be GDP, okay, growth rate, okay, let's say for 2020, okay, want to know what's GDP growth rate in 2020. That will be equals to what? GDP, all right, GDP, okay, in 2020, all right, minus GDP, okay, of 2019, which is the previous year, GDP of the base of a past year, okay, the immediate previous year, all over the GDP of the base, okay, the GDP of the base period 2019, of course. That is the GDP of what? 2019, GDP of 20 what? 19, okay? Sorry, GDP of 2019, okay? Times 100 over what? Over 1. So the answer will always be in what? In percentages, okay? So that's a formula for calculating your GDP. So once you are given a question, for example, to calculate the GDP growth rate, of course, you just need to find out what is the GDP value, the previous GDP value, what is the current GDP value. So it becomes the current minus the previous, all over the previous, times 100 over 1, okay? Having said that, so that means the GDP growth rate will always be calculated over a period of time. Let's take a look at the Nigeria GDP growth rate, okay? For the Nigeria GDP growth rate, the sectors are divided. Of course, the output we are producing, all right? You can see it is for agriculture, for industry, services. Okay, this is where you have different kinds of what? Of production activities within Nigeria. You can see them. Okay, agriculture, crop production, livestock, forestry and fishing. Industry is made up of mining, manufacturing, electricity, water supply, construction. Services is made up of trade, accommodation and food services, transportation, information, all of that. So you see, this is GDP at 2010 constant price. That tells you that's GDP value for the real GDP when I consider it with respect to 2010 constant basic prices. Okay, so I have it from 1981 down to 2020. All right, so if I want to calculate the GDP growth rate in 2020, very simple. Okay, I can use my Excel formula. You must have been taught how to use Excel in your secondary school. So I'll use my Excel formula, and then remember it is the 2020 GDP value minus the 2019 GDP value over 2019 GDP value times 100 over 1. And that is this particular 2020 minus this particular 2019, then over the 2019 GDP, okay, times 100 over 1. So you see that the GDP growth rate for Nigeria in 2020 was what? Minus 1.92. All right. We can also see the one for 2019, okay, which is 2019 value minus 2018 value, all right, all over 2018 value times what? 100 over 1. 2018 was 2.27. 2019, sorry, was 2.27. Then what should be 2018? I can also do for 2018, which is 2018 minus 2017, okay, over 2017 times 100 over 1. 27.91. So you can see from the calculation that GDP economic growth occurred in 2018. It also occurred in 2019. But in 2020, the economy shrank by minus 1.92%. And of course, the answer to that particular question is not far-fetched, which is simply because of the global pandemic, okay, the coronavirus. So that just gives you an idea on how to calculate the GDP, okay? Having said that, that explains or tells us the meaning of what? Economic growth. So we now look at economic development, okay? Economic development is quite different from economic growth. When we talk about economic development, we are seeing different things from economic growth. So many people have come up to talk about the definition of economic development from different perspectives, okay? However, there is no general, consensus on how to best explain development, depending on you, all right? But there are some critical things you must understand that when you are defining development, those critical things must be considered. You can't just define development without introducing or putting those critical things. The first one is that development must have to do with sustained increase in output over time. Sustained increase in output over time. That means it must be a situation whereby output keeps increasing over time and is sustained. It's not the one of first quarter, there's growth. Second quarter, there's negative growth. Third quarter, there is growth. Fourth quarter, there is growth. But the next year, there is negative growth. No, that increase in output must be sustained over time. It's very important. The second thing is that there must be a desirable social change. All right. there must be a desirable social change. It's not just increase in output, okay? But it also has to do with some desirable social change. There must be a change in behavior. There must be a change in the way we see things. There must be a change in the way we appreciate things. There must be a change in the way we appreciate values. There must be a change in we acknowledging the importance of values. Our value system must change. It's not just increases in output, okay, that is motivated by stealing. No, it's not just increases in output by families. Oh, this guy is driving a car and he's doing Yahoo Yahoo. There is no social change. That is not development. So there must be a sustained increase in output, and we must also have some desirable social change. We must see some changes within the environment. People must begin to value others. People must begin to respect fundamental human rights, okay? People must begin to value every other person in terms of gender. A man should not now begin to bully a woman. A woman should now have an estate in the family. Those are desirable social change. There must be a change even in the political system. People must begin to acknowledge that we shouldn't be taking 5 naira or 500 naira or a loaf of bread just to vote for someone. People must begin to acknowledge that we should not just be collecting bribe, 10,000 naira, just to vote for someone, but we should look at someone with respect to what he wants to deliver. That is the desirable social change. So you will have a sustained increase in output, but it must come with desirable social change. Then you are talking about economic development. Another thing you must also understand is that economic development will have to do with what? Economic growth and the desirable social change. For example, let me just give a simple example. That tells you that a precondition for economic development is economic growth. That is it. For economic development to occur, growth must have taken place. And then that growth will now be able to trickle down to the welfare of the people to lead to desirable social change. What do I mean by that? A very simple example, okay? If I have a man that has a wife and maybe 3 children, okay? And at the beginning of the year, say by February, the man tells the wife and the children, don't worry. Oh, by the end of this year, December, we're going on vacation, probably to Dubai, Paris, or somewhere. Let's say to Dubai, we'll go on vacation. And so the family, they are all excited. They are waiting for that particular vacation. Now, you need to understand that for the man to be able to go for that vacation at the end of the year, the man must be able to earn substantial income. His income will be stable. That's one. Two, the man might even get some promotion. Those are the motivating factors that will help the man to go for vacation. What does that mean? It means for the man to actually go for the vacation, to experience a desirable social change, to be happy, to make the family to be happy, the man must earn income. That income or increase in income the man is earning is economic growth. The vacation, all right, that they are going to be happy, all right, and have a change of weather to be happy, that is desirable social change. So for the man to go for the vacation, he must earn additional income. So economic growth is a condition for the vacation, for the desirable social change. Again, economic growth is not economic development because the man can also earn that increase in income and he decides to squander the money, give it to other ladies, or decides to drink or decide to start gambling or something. And at the end, the man, tells the wife, oh, sorry, blah, 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 we are not going on vacation again. What has happened? The economy is growing. Yes, the man has experienced economic growth, via increases in his income, but the man has not been able to transfer or translate that increase in his income in improving the welfare of the family. What does that tell you? So what that tells you is that economies can grow, okay, and they might not develop. So an economy can grow. There can be an increase in output while the welfare of the people is not increasing. It's very important. Again, you must understand that economic development has to do with improvement in total well-being, of people. You must understand that economic development is improvement in total well-being of people, okay? And the total well-being of people comes in form of income, all right? It comes in form of education, okay? And it comes in form of what? Health, okay? So you need to understand that, okay, that it comes in form of the income, it comes in form of the education, and then it comes in form of what? Health. So there must be an improvement in the total well-being of the people in terms of their income, in terms of their level of educational attainment, in terms of their health status. Note, when I mean improvement in the level of educational attainment, I'm not talking about just earning a certificate or getting a certificate, no. But there must be an improvement in your human capacity, in your intellectual capacity. There must be an improvement in the way you do things. That is an evidence that you have learned. And then when we talk about health, the well-being of the people in terms of health status, it is not the one where your economy is growing, okay? People are growing, economy is growing. However, the health status of the people is deteriorating. No, it's not the one of the person goes out in the morning very early as 4, is in the traffic, he stays where the fuel combustion will be on him, he inhales those smokes, he gets to office sweating, he's unsettled, he wouldn't have his breakfast, he starts work, and when he'll be having his breakfast, might be around 3 o'clock. He gets home again by 10 p.m. He's so tired and exhausted. The next day continues. Those things continue. Before you know it, all right, before you know it, the health, the life expectancy of such people will definitely fall drastically. And you just see people dropping dead, okay, at 40, at 45. That tells you, yes, you are working. Yes, you are getting output, but your health status is deteriorating. So it's very important you understand that it is improvement in total well-being with respect to the income, education, and with respect to the health status. Okay, very important that you note this. Okay, then let's look at the measures of what economic development. When we talk about the measures of economic development, what we are saying here is how do we measure economic development? Okay, there are so many measures which you are not to know at this level because you are in year 1. Okay, there are so many measures of economic development which you will know later. Okay, and this is also if we are borrowing the course, though you will do it again in year 2, you will know a bit about it. But you just have to know that the first measure of economic development that is known for now is HDI, Human Development Index. Human Development Index. That Human Development Index is a composite index. That is, it is made up of 3 different measures, okay? Income, 1, health status, 2, and the level of education. Those 3 things are the measures of what? Human Development Index, okay? You must understand that these 3 things are the measures of human development index. So every point in time, every year, okay, the World Bank will always calculate the Human Development Index. It ranges between 0 and 1, okay? The closer it is to 1, we say, oh, the more developed such an economy is. And the farther it is from 1, tending towards 0, we say the less developed such economy is. In order for us to portray that, we can take a look at the Human Development Index, okay, that we have for Nigeria, okay. We can take a look at that, the Human Development Index that we have for Nigeria, okay. And from my slide, okay, I'm showing you this is a Human Development Index that was calculated, okay, by World Bank for all the countries. You can see that for the first on that list, okay, we have is Norway, and their Human Development Index, you can see, all right, as at 2018 is 0.954. You can see it here, 2018, 0.954. And so they classified economies into different levels. One, those are very high human development. You can see them, mostly the European nations, EUs, Norway, Switzerland, Ireland, Germany, or Kong is there now, or Australia, Iceland, Sweden, Singapore, Netherlands, okay? You can see all of them. They are classified as very high, okay? Very high. Even Seychelles, that is in Africa, is also considered very high. Dubai. Then the second category is high human development. Okay, that's the second category. And that's why we have Serbia, Trinidad and Tobago, you know, we have Mauritius, Panama, Mexico, Colombia, they are all there, okay, Jamaica. Then we have medium human development, okay, where we have Vietnam, Palestine, Iraq, Morocco, Kazakhstan, okay, and all of those countries, okay. Then also Nigeria is also in this medium development. You can see Nigeria. Oh, Nigeria. Okay, Nigeria is not there. Oh, sorry. So Nigeria is in low human development. And that is where we have Nigeria. You can see it, 158, okay? The human development is 0.534, which is just medium, 0.534, the medium, all right? Then we now have, and that's the last, okay, that we have, and that is where Nigeria belongs to. So this was measured with respect to health, life expectancy, with respect to income, and then with respect to the level of education, okay? All right. Then let's move on. So having said this, we now consider the next thing, and that is development planning, okay? In as much as we are desiring to experience a social change, in as much as we intend, okay, to have improvements in our well-being, there is a need for development planning. And what is development planning? All right, it is just the institutional and organizational mechanism for overcoming the major obstacles to development. That is development what? Planning, okay? Institutional and organizational mechanism for overcoming the obstacles to development, okay? And for ensuring a sustained high rate of economic growth. That's development planning. So whenever you consider a method, a mechanism, all right, a strategy in order for you to overcome obstacles to development, all right, and ensure there's high rate of economic growth, you are involving yourself in development planning. Of course, for those that are in management, the world planning is a very known concept to you, okay, and that is what you do most often, planning, deciding in advance what is to be done, who is to do it, and how and when is to be done, okay. In economics or development planning also has to do with, setting the pace, all right, setting up a mechanism in order for us to overcome major obstacles to development and ensure a sustained high rate of economic growth, okay. Now, again, we also have economic planning. They are the same, but you might have a development planning and you can also have an economic planning. With economic planning, you are in relation to production. That's for economic planning. You are thinking towards production. And look at it. It is a deliberate and conscious attempt by the state, okay, to formulate decisions on how the factors of production will be allocated among different uses or industries, thereby determining how much of total goods and services will be produced in one or more ensuing period. Okay, so that talks about planning, economic plan. It must be a deliberate attempt. It must be conscious. You plan. When you plan, it must be a conscious effort. You don't just wake up and just leave it that way. Things won't work out. You must plan, all right? You must consciously plan, okay? It must be deliberate to decide how will these parts of production be allocated among the industries, who is to do what, all right? A very good example of an economic planning process is the budgeting process. Okay, now we look at economic plan, the plan itself, and that plan is what? A written document containing government policy decisions on how resources will be allocated among various uses so as to attain a targeted rate of economic growth or other goals over a period of time. So the economic plan is a written document. It must be written. It's a document written, okay? Just like the way we have constitution guiding us. In economics, we have an economic plan. It must be a document. It must be written, okay? It details out a government policy decisions, okay? It explains how those resources will be allocated. That is what is found in that document, okay? And because we want to achieve a target rate, a targeted rate of economic growth, okay? We want to achieve a particular goal over a period of time. Of course, you must have been taught your objectives of macroeconomics in your topic 1 or topic 2, and the two major objectives are growth and stabilization. However, we have other measures of what? Economic what? Growth. We have other measures of macroeconomic objectives, which is price stability, full employment, balance of payments, equilibrium, all right, reduction in income inequality, okay, improving environmental sustainability to reduce environmental degradation and climate change. All of those things, okay, they are all macroeconomic objectives. Those objectives, they are all targets, okay? And in economic plan, it will have a document that will tell this is what we want to achieve. This is where we are going to. With respect to income inequality, this is what we want to do. With respect to education, this is what we want to do. With respect to this is what we want to do. That is an economic plan. Okay? Types of development planning. There are two. One, comprehensive plan. And two, we have partial plan. Okay? With the word comprehensive and partial, that is a bit self-explanatory. For comprehensive plan, okay, that plan must set out targets, all right, that it wants to cover, okay? And it sets out targets that covers all the major sectors of the national economy. The comprehensive, it is comprehensive. It covers every sector of the economy, okay? It is wide, all right? If you trace it down from 1960, we've had such types of plan. First, the first National Development Plan, the second National Development Plan, we have the third National Development Plan, we have the fourth National Development Plan, we have the rolling plans, we have the needs, we have the 7-point agenda, we have the Vision 2020, we even have the Vision 2010, and now ERGP, okay? So that's why I said the topic is like a course on its own, that during doing it as a course for those studying economics in year 3, year 4, each of these will become what? A topic, all right? So all of these are comprehensive plans, okay? Then we have the partial plan. For the partial plan, it's just cover only a part of the economy. It does not cover all the economies, all right? It covers a part of the economy. A part of the economy with respect to agriculture, with respect to industry, with respect to tourism, okay? And even other sectors, services, banking. So whenever you come up with a policy, all right, and that policy, okay, talks about different aspects of the economy, under that case, we say it is a partial plan, okay? Example for it that we have, recently the Lagos State government launched agricultural roadmap, 5 years agricultural roadmap. And that was just a plan that is designed to see how Lagos State government can spur or improve the agricultural sector. It's a partial plan. And then example of the comprehensive plan is the ERGP, the one we have now, which is Economic Recovery and Growth Plans, okay? Then if you look at that particular Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, if you look at the document, is a document, okay? And very wide, is a plan that the Buhari administration launched in 2017 and is to elapse in 2020. So it was a plan that will span through 2017 to 2020, okay? That is the plan. So this ERGP plan is a big document. If you read it, it talks about the different plans, the different agenda, the different strategies the Nigeria federal government wants to take to achieve a plan. One, it is a medium-term plan designed to stimulate the economy towards recovery and greater growth trajectory. It also seeks to empower the youth by creating jobs. It wants to ensure social inclusion. It wants to remove obstacles that could militate the successful operations of businesses, both locally and trade with other countries. So it's a plan too, very broad. That is what Buhari presented that we should use for 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2020, okay? It has 3 major objectives. 1, restoration of growth through targeting macroeconomic stability and economic diversification. That is the strategy, that is the macroeconomic objective. The second one is to invest in the Nigerian people by increasing social inclusion to create jobs, improve human capital base of the economy. The third one is to build a globally competitive economy, okay, that will help to remove obstacles hindering the competitiveness of Nigerian businesses, notably poor and non-existent infrastructural facilities and the difficult business environment. So you see that these 3 objectives are all encompassing. It's broad, okay? It's broad, covers every aspect of human life in Nigeria, covers the aspect of social inclusion, covers the aspect of creating jobs, covers the aspects of improving human capital base, and all of that. So the objective is broad. That's just an example of a um a national plan that we discussed. That's an example of what? A comprehensive plan. Just the ERG plan. I just only try to explain the objective of the ERG plan. That is all. I'm not explaining any other thing, just the objectives of the ERG plan and for you to just have an understanding of it. Then the ERGP also have strategies that they are using to achieve that. Okay. The strategy one is to align monetary, trade, and fiscal policies. All right. The second one is to accelerate non-oil revenue growth generation. That is the non-oil revenue side. Nigeria is blessed with oil now. Crude oil. So, but they said, no, let us see how we can improve the non-oil sector, the agri and manufacturing. Okay. Another strategy is that they will drastically cut costs. So all those costs, government costs, this allowance, this one, they want to cut it. That's a strategy. Again, they want to privatize selected public enterprises and assets. They want to sell some of the assets, privatize some. Look at NEPA now. NEPA is no longer NEPA, it's now PHCN, fully privatized, deregulated. So even other areas, they are looking at how they will privatize all of them. That's the strategy. They also desire to achieve agriculture and food security. So making food available for the masses. That's a strategy they intend to adopt. Okay. They also intend to improve transportation infrastructure. So all these road constructions you're seeing, the red line, the blue line, and all of those railway construction, launching of the rail from Port Harcourt to Abuja, the one of Lagos to Ibadan. All of those things are the strategies from this particular plan. Again, they want to ensure energy sufficiency in power and petroleum products. So they are aggressively, pushing the discos to ensure that they supply electricity. Of course, we can say relatively there has been improvement in the supply of electricity, although it's a bit expensive. So those are the strategies that are involved in the plan. So when you see the government coming up to do things, they are all contained in their comprehensive plan, which is ERGP. Again, derive industrialization by focusing on SMEs. They intend to focus on SMEs, all right, improve SMEs, give them credit, that with that, we'll be able to drive industrialization. So those are the strategies. That is like a plan by the government, all right, but you know that that plan elapsed last year. So as of now, I think they are developing a plan, though it has not been launched, but they are currently developing another plan. So the next is, what are the planning procedures or planning process? That is, if you want to set up, if you want to execute a plan, how do you go about it? Okay, planning process. That's just a procedure for drawing up and carrying out a formal economic plan. Then I tried to bring this out. We have the planning process, that is common to business, because you people in management sciences, this is the normal planning process that you know, which is common to businesses. Okay. First of all, you create planning awareness. That's a starting point. Creating planning what? Awareness. What does that mean? You're trying to first of all identify that there's a need to plan. So it's very important. The first thing is identification of the need to plan. All right, very, very important. You people that are in year one now, you must have seen your year one result. For those of you that didn't do well, you'll be like, why didn't I do well? What happened? You will begin to say, okay, I need to start planning. I need to start reading every day. I need to start reading in the evening. I need to start reading 1 hour a day. That is your planning awareness. You are aware. You just said becoming conscious that I need to plan my day. Okay. The next thing is formulating goals. You now say, okay, yes, by the end of the semester, I don't want to have 3.5. I want to have 4.4 or 4.5 at least. That is a goal. That is also applicable, all right? Even in organizations, you set goals. The next is analyze the external environment. You begin to analyze, look at things around you. that can determine or affect your plan. Then you analyze your internal environment. You look at the things within you that you also need to adjust. Oh, I won't be checking Instagram again. I won't be going to social medias again. I will only just stick to reading my books. Then the next is identifying strategic opportunities and threats. Of course, people in management sciences, you know this word, SWOT analysis. So you begin to identify opportunities around. Okay, I can leverage on this guy. This guy can teach me. Okay, I can leverage on this person. This person can teach me. Ah, that my friend, I will cut off from that, my friend. We always discuss in real stuff. It's just to tell me stories in real stuff. That is you identifying it. The next is performing gap analysis. So you ask yourself, where do I want to be? What should be my CGPA? What's my CGPA now? How will I read? How many topics should I read in a course? That is the gap analysis. Then you develop alternative strategies. So you begin to ask yourself, what if I can't read in the night and I'm sleeping? What should I do? I'll read in the day. What if I can't read in the day? What will I do? I will go to library. What if I'm allergic to library? I will go to the love garden. You must identify alternative strategies. The next ones you begin to implement. So you've planned. It's not just planning enough. It's not just to have New Year resolution. You begin to implement and then measure your planning process. In the public sector or with respect to government plan, the first stage is preparation stage. Prepare, you begin to prepare. For example, your GP has finished as a lab since last year. Okay, so the next thing they've done since that last year, even before the December, even as at 2019, November, December, they started preparing that, PRGP plan the labs next year. We need to start developing a new plan. We need to start thinking of what next, okay? The next thing is you review your previous medium-term development plan. You must review the past. You must review the ERGP. You must look at the ERGP and like, okay, this ERGP, oh, what did we achieve? What is that we did not achieve? What failed? What did not come up? What should we do? That is you reviewing your previous ERGP, your previous plan. You must assess it. So even if after your exam, you have 4.5, you must assess the last exam and know what really happened. So it's important that you review the last plan to understand what are your achievements, what are your failures, okay? The next one is you conduct a situational analysis and prioritization on development issues, okay? You now look at what is happening. For example, last year the plan has ended. They've reviewed it, but they'll be considering what is happening now. Coronavirus pandemic is happening. The health sector is overwhelmed. That is a situational analysis and prioritization of development issues. You will see that in the new plan we are going to have, they will be placing some priorities on health sector because they've come to see that with the global pandemic and health issues, the economy might even collapse. The economy might be in a shambles. Things will be affected. So you said they will start prioritizing the health sector. That is situational analysis and prioritization on development issues. The next is when you prioritize them, you list them. Okay, this is what we should do. This sector must take a major share. This sector must be given consideration. What do you do next? You do a first public hearing. You invite people. Remember that the government is planning for the people. So invite the people. Oh yeah, let's go to Lagos. Let's go to South, Southeast, Southwest, North Central, Northeast, and Northwest. Let's go to those states. Oh yeah, let's do a public hearing. You invite everybody, traditional rulers, you invite market women, you invite the academia, you invite teachers. This is what we want to do. What do you see? What do you suggest? They will talk and talk and talk. You take notes. After that, you go to identification of development prospects. That's where you say, okay, which one is the best thing to do? Which one should we even do? We have listed out all the development issues. Which one should we do? Which one will help us to leapfrog the other? Should we provide electricity? If we provide electricity, how will it solve business problems? Or should we not provide electricity? Let's go and provide housing. Should we provide housing for people first? You need to identify those development prospects. The next one is programming and budgeting. Now begin to place budgets. Now begin to place budget that, oh, how much will you use to build new hospitals? How much will I take to build new schools? You must budget it, you must attach cost to it. Okay. Then the next is you design monitoring and evaluation system and implementation arrangement. You now begin to ask yourself, now we have designed that plan, we want to spend this billion of naira. How do we monitor it? How do we ensure that they are rightly implemented? How are we going to monitor that particular implementation plan? Okay. How do we ensure that that implementation plan, that that plan we have, it will come to daylight, it will see the light of the day? So you have planned, you must design, monitor, and evaluation. You can't just plan and tell them, okay, we are going to spend 10 billion. Oh yeah, Minister of Culture, take 2 billion. Minister of Finance, take 1 billion. Minister of Transport, take 3 billion. You take, and you are not asking them every 6 months. Come, Minister, the 6 billion I've given you, what are you using it to do? Come, PAMSEC, come, Minister of Culture, Minister of this, Minister of that. The money we are giving you for that particular project, what is happening? Are prices increasing? If prices are increasing, do we adjust? That's monitoring and evaluation. Okay. After you've designed that mechanism, the next is final public hearing. You now take it again to the people and now tell them, this is having considered the first hearing on stage 4. We have incorporated everything, we have built it, we have planned it. This is now the final public hearing. Oh yeah, everybody come and see what we are doing. After that, it's now the finalization of new medium-term development plan. You now finalize. That's when you now launch it, and that is it. So that's the planning process for a government plan. So let's look at the ways of financing economic development. How do we finance economic development? Okay. How are we able to finance economic development? How are we going to finance economic development? One is through debt. Debt is a major way of financing economic development. Debt is one of the major ways. There are two types of it: domestic debt and foreign debt. With respect to domestic debt, okay, that is where we borrow, or the government borrows within the economy. The government borrows within Nigeria, borrows from commercial banks, from the people, through Treasury Bills, TBs. You must have done all these monetary instruments in topic 5 or 6, okay, the Treasury Bill. So government sells Treasury Bills just because they want to collect money in order to finance development. They are collecting money to finance development issues, to construct road, to build bridges, to do the railway. That is why they are selling those Treasury Bills with interest. Another way that they can borrow domestically is through high-powered money. All right, high-powered money is not really domestic debt, but it's just an internal way of financing high-powered money. Because high-powered money is when the government, all right, prints new money, okay, just because they want to finance a project. That's high-powered money. The government just wakes up, and say, okay, central bank, please print 100 billion for us. And then when they print 100 billion, that is what they will use, okay, to finance a particular project. That is high-powered money. So printing of new money, okay, just to finance a project. That high-powered money, all right, it results into inflation, which is true. That's why it's rarely used, or it is used when situations are out of hand that the government cannot help again, all right? The next is foreign debt, okay? Of course, you know what this is: external debt, borrowing from others, from development financial institutions, such as the World Bank, IMF, ADB, okay? All of those World Bank and IMF borrowings. They can also borrow from multilateral sources, okay? group of countries like the G8, okay, the Paris Club, you borrow from there. It can also be bilateral borrowings, okay, between Nigeria and China and all of that, okay. Then another source is through foreign aid and grants. Most of these um, developed countries, they decide to also give out aid and grants to other developing countries like Nigeria. That aid and grants can be in form of intelligence sharing, just like this fight against Boko Haram. Okay, most of the government, U.S. government, British government, they are giving intelligence sharing ideas to the military. Their military personnel, their U.S. Army or British Army, they are not coming to fight Boko Haram physically here, but they give them intelligence gathering. They advise them, they give them advice and all of that. That is a form of foreign aid as well as what grants. Even when AIDS, that's HIV/AIDS, when it was first new in Nigeria, in the within the developing economies in West Africa, that was 2001, 2002, 2005. United States, all right, under a program, PEFA, Presidential Emergency PEFA, United States something. They they brought in aids and grants to most of the hospitals, NUT, Nigerian Institute of Medical Research here in Nigeria, and they sponsor some projects to do research to understand the HIV/AIDS and all of that. So there were so massive funds that was made available. All those things are just to solve development issues. Although now aids and grants is declining, simply because even those developed economies, they also have their own challenge. All right. Those developed economies have their own challenge. Look at the coronavirus now. It has ravaged even most of the developed economies. So it's not a developing country issue. It's now a developed country issue. And you look at the cases, even the cases in developing economies like Africa, is not as much as those developed countries. So they have issues they are considering now. So aids and grant has really reduced. Just that was on the Saturday now, when the Taliban, Afghanistan, they took over the country, hosted the president's house, and US withdrew all their troops, closed their embassy, okay? They've been fighting that war since 2001, over 2 decades, now over 20 years. So, and US Army has been there. More than 2,000 US armies have died. Those things are aids to the Middle East. They are aids and grants to the Middle East, Afghanistan. But now they've withdrawn. The British Army also will soon withdraw their own troops. So those aids and grants are declining, but there are ways of financing economic development. And that was why yesterday, Buhari wrote to New York Times. It was published when he was talking about the need for Africa to arise and then begin to defend ourselves, the need for Africa to come together. He was talking about the need for Africa to be conscious about this terrorism and all of that. And he made a statement that I can't quote him anyway, that one day Africa might wake up to meet their that one day Africa might wake up and also might likely experience what has happened in Afghanistan. So, but what we are saying is that calls for us, we Nigerians, to protect ourselves. That calls for we Nigerians to be one. That calls for we Nigerians to look at the property, the resources of the nation, and see it as our own. That talks about you and I. When we are in power, we look at the interest and welfare of everybody and not just the welfare of ourselves. That talks about we not being selfish. That talks about we valuing our educational system, valuing our system, valuing our lives. That talks about we doing an exam without malpractice. That talks about we doing online exam and nobody is beside you trying to point the answers to you. The person is destroying you. The person is not helping you to develop. Educational attainment is not just certificate. It has to do with what you have acquired mentally. So it comes with you being disciplined. It comes with you not lying. It comes with you being honest. It comes with you diligently doing your exams by yourself. It doesn't come with teachers helping you to write answers on the board. No, that is not development. So because the aids and grants we are thinking are coming, America, we run to America, we run to Brazil, we run to, we run to UK, we run to Germany. One day they will close their border, meaning, please, we are overwhelmed with challenges. Okay. The next one is sale of national assets. How? There are some assets that are up there. You can see it even in the National Development Plan strategy, when you can see it here, when they say privatize selected public enterprises and assets. That's sale of assets. Okay. That can be a strategy that can be used. Some of these assets that are no longer in place, just like the federal secretariat that is in Ikoyi, just that house is under litigation. Okay. Federal government would have disposed it. So those are ways of financing for development. Again, is concessions. Concessions will reach an agreement. There's an agreement between me and you. Just like China and Nigeria, China and Nigeria, they're into some concessions. The railway that is built, the one you see in Ebute Metta, there are some concessions there. That, okay, we'll give you loan, but this loan we are giving you, we'll come and build the railway by ourselves. And we'll build it and maintain it ourselves. Those things are concessions. They are ways of financing economic development. The next one is earnings from natural resource exploration. Okay, that is a major, popular source of earning for Nigeria. Okay, sale of crude oil, natural gas, limestone, and all of that. Those are source or ways of financing economic development. Okay. So this particular list is not exhaustive, it's inexhaustive, though it exists, all right, but it's inexhaustive. There are other lists that we have, just that this is just the basic, okay, that we have when we consider sales of what? National assets and all of that. So let's look at the growth and development issues in Nigeria. Growth and development issues in Nigeria. One, policy consistency. Most of the policies we design, most of those policies we are inconsistent about it. We say this today, tomorrow is another thing. Okay? First National Development Plan, second National Development Plan, third National Development Plan, rolling plan, Vision 2020, Vision 2010, 7-point agenda, NIS, all of them are being repetitive. Today, we are focusing on agriculture. Tomorrow is now railway. Next tomorrow is the people. The other tomorrow is South-South. We are not consistent with our policies. There's a need for us to be consistent with our policies. Very important. Okay, very important. There's a need for us to be what? Consistent. I forgot to talk about foreign direct investment as one of the ways of financing development in Nigeria. Foreign direct investment. We bring those foreign direct investors. They come here to invest, and when they invest, they are developing the economy. So it's one of the ways. So our policies are inconsistent. Okay, we are not too stable with our policies. Don't worry, when you get to your year 2, year 3, year 4, you understand this with respect to policy consistency. Then again, the growing population. Population is growing. Population is growing. Okay, and there's no corresponding increase in human capital development. It's a major concern for Nigeria. Nigerian population, or we are growing. People are giving birth. Go to Jorabadia, go to Jorabadia, go to Ajegunle, go to Mushin, go to all these places. You see a family with 5 children, 6 children, and many of them are not being sent to school. Those that went to school are involved in exam malpractices up and down. They are not reading. They are not developed. And before you see them, by the time they are 12, 14, 15, they are already into Yahoo Yahoo. They are already Agberos. They are already area boys. You just see children that are just 15, 16, and they're already on the streets. There is no plan. The population is growing, but the human capital development is not taken care of. It's not taken care of. We have people giving birth on daily basis, and they are not taken care of. They are not sent to school. They went or they go to school. They are not learning. There is no transformation in their mental being. They are not learning morals. Okay? Very important. You don't lie. So the population is growing and there is no corresponding human capital development. Again, it's border control in Nigeria. Our border is porous. People are coming in. The Boko Haram, the kidnappers, and all of that. Many of them were crossing the border. The border is not well controlled. That is a development issue. It's a development issue that must be considered. We have depletion of our non-renewable natural resources. Okay, our non-renewable natural resources, our oil will soon finish. And when oil finishes, it becomes a challenge. Okay, then there is global concern for renewable energy and fast pace of technological advancement. People are now going towards renewable energy, solar, wind, and all of that. You now see we are talking about cars without fuel, cars that will run on solar. That is now the in thing now. That's the next thing. Cars that are running on solar. So imagine cars running on solar, no longer fuel, electricity on solar. Okay? If there's no fuel, Nigeria will, it will be well with Nigeria. Let me use that word. So there is global concern for renewable energy. People want to do away with combustible energy, combustible fuel. All these gas and fuel, they are flaring, all of that. People are doing away with it. They're bringing in cars without fuel and all of that. And the fast pace of technological what? Advancement. Technological is growing. Technological advancement is on the peak. Like to come to a point that machines will do everything for you, wash your clothes, do everything for you in the house, drive you to where you are going to, come back, construct road, drive caterpillar. What will you and I be doing? We'll just be looking. Okay? So those are the global growth and the development issues in Nigeria that we need to consider. Thank you. And that ends the class. So, and I think this is the, that ends the class. So thank you.